Hello, my name is Clay Hepler. I've scaled a land business starting with only $30,000 in the bank to be on pace to do over $3 million in gross profit in less than 3 years. And today, I'm going to teach you step by step how to go from a hustler doing everything in your business to an architect running the show and having your business run for you. There are three clear stages from a hustler to an architect that I have found working with dozens of private clients, people that ask me to come in, consult on their business, and help them double or triple their gross profit over a period of 6 months to 12 months. And these are the consistent things that I see that keep you stuck, the things that you need to do, and the signs to know that you're actually here so that you can clearly locate where are you in this process. You might be between stages. You might be clearly at one of the stages, and what you can do to get out of the stage. This is the step-by-step process that I use with all of my six-figure clients in order to take their business to the next level. So, stage one is the hustler. At this stage, you're really just starting to build your business. You might be at the stage that you're a year in, or 2 or 3 years in, but you're at the stage that you're still doing a lot of this stuff, right? Everything runs through you. There's no sales reps. There's no real Dispo team. There's no clear processes. You might have a main W-2 job, and you are just hustling, right? You're doing a lot of this stuff, and you're not really getting any traction, right? What this looks like, I've found, is it's 5 to 25 leads per week, 2 to 8 offers per week, 1 to 3 deals per month, and then you're at that kind of 20 to 60K in let's say gross profit or revenue per month, and then net profit looks like 5 to 30K per month, right? So you're kind of getting traction. You're making enough money that it makes it worth pursuing this opportunity. But it's really hard for you to kind of get yourself out of the business. You seem like you're doing everything. You might be jumping into data. You might be jumping into other things in order to keep your business growing. And what you really need at this level is a consistent marketing channel. Where I see a lot of people fall down is they hear about a marketing channel on a podcast, and they hear about it in a vacuum or someone pitching an agency service. And it's very difficult for them to actually say, hey, if I implement this into my business, will this actually help me get to where I want to be? So I see a hustler will jump from CRM to CRM, marketing channel to marketing channel, opportunity to opportunity, subdivides or standard flips or infill wholesales to builders. They can't get traction, right? They can't get traction because it's like they're trying a bunch of different diets to lose weight, and they should just try one diet and stick to it. They need a script that they can close this, right? A consistent sales process, a consistent system for sourcing, offering, and closing, a basic KPI dashboard, and a budget that consistently reinvests, not taking a lot of money out of the business and then reinvesting. It's really here is the actual roadmap and of what I'm going to do when it profit comes in the business. Here's how I'll allocate to scale, right? Because the reality is we're not trying to build a business that's a prison, which is what a lot of people do and why a lot of people stick at this level. They stay stuck at this level because they do not reinvest in their business at the different stages. They stay stuck at this level because they don't really know what percentage of their deal they should reinvest in their business. They might have gone all in because they heard some guru talking about it. And unfortunately, what that ends up doing is that creates this vicious cycle of not having enough money to leave the business, but they've quit the job. And so they're doing everything because they can't afford anyone. And it really creates a really difficult situation to be in, right? The core bottlenecks here are no tracking and no visibility, right? They're doing everything. This leads to burnout. This is why people leave the business. I see a lot of people leaving the business currently because They don't have the systems. It's not just about competition. They are doing everything in their business. And they say, man, I can make twice as much working in a W-2 job or doing something else. Why would I stay in this business? That's not what the gurus promises, but that's really what's happening. They don't really have a clear underwriting process, and so they don't have a, hey, I every time I have a certain funder that I work with, this is what they want to see. This is the profit that I need to get in order to work with them. They don't have that, right? And then the Dispo is the black box, right? So they put a deal on the market, maybe they'll list it personally, or they won't have the right broker, and it will end up taking twice as long, 3 times as long to sell. And then they don't have any finance function. They don't really know how much they're making, how much they're not making. They're taking out the money of their business in order to make it like worth their time, but they're not strategically reinvesting to scale. And so they're bottlenecking themselves in that way, right? The main constraints here is there's just not enough leads. There's no SOPs, there's no tracking, delegation. Hiring is overwhelming. They don't show up to the job. They have electricity problems. They're not consistent. And what that ends up doing is creating this pain feedback loop of you hire someone, you think they're going to work out, they're amazing the first 2 weeks, or they're not amazing the first 2 weeks. It takes you 2 weeks to get the person. You're working 2 or 3 jobs in order to just keep this business going because you're hiring, you're doing HR, you're doing sales, you're doing marketing, you're doing tracking, you're doing finance. And so you have no time to think strategically. You don't really know what to allocate your resources to, right? So the next move really to get out of this part of the process is using the hiring ladder, which I'll talk about in a second here, to hire a transaction coordinator. You want to build a basic KPI dashboard. You want to master one marketing channel, and you want to start documenting your sales and Dispo process. You want to have an admin or an EA to support bookkeeping and project management. And what I find is something's really effective is at this level, you have a general admin who's also a TC who also supports with bookkeeping and project management, right? So this is what the team really looks like. So a lot of times you're the person who sales team and the marketing team and the finance maybe and transactions, right? This is really what this structure normally looks like. And we want to use these 5 moves in order to get out of this. Whether you choose texting or cold calling or direct mail or PPC or some other marketing channel, if you master one, it allows you to scale. So here's something that I do with every one of my clients. And if you go down below, you can go through a time audit. Most land investors are actually doing things that don't build their business. 60 to 70% of their work time is on low value tasks, building out admin workflows, building out processes that maybe the business needs in 5 to 6 months, maybe it doesn't. Not spending time on revenue generating activities, calling sellers, calling brokers, talking to funders, all those things. And that's why I start every client with a time audit, right? It identify these time leaks, which are you doing busy work or are you actually building your business? Are you auditing your workflow, your daily workflow? And I constantly do this. I want to track every 15 minutes for 2 weeks, and I'll really know what's going on. This also allows us to buy back your time, right? This is originally I heard this from Dan Martell, and it's really about buying back your time and taking control over what you're doing. And so you might see over a period of 40 or 50 hours or however long you're working that you have 15 hours, 20 hours of admin work. And although you heard on a podcast that you should have a lead manager, in fact, if you could delegate those 15 to 20 hours of admin work to a executive assistant, then you could be spending more time calling sellers and it could result in 1 extra deal per month. Those types of understandings of what's going on in your week to week allows you to actually hire, right? Because we hire at different stages to give us as the CEOs more leverage over our time. And if we're just hiring because of an emotional need, which is what a lot of people do, and not using the actual understanding of what's going on and what do I need help with and what do I delegate so I can do more revenue producing activities, we're not scaling our business in the most efficient way because we are the employee that we cannot afford. And so we need to act like that. So the hiring ladder here is very simple. Someone wants to bring on a lead manager before they bring on a transaction coordinator. It doesn't make much sense. So you can take a photo of this. This is our hiring ladder that we use. Again, this is taken a lot from Dan Martell, but admin is general admin. You understand what that means. Marketing, data. Fulfillment is TC, scrubbers, research. Marketing is maybe you hire an agency. Maybe you hire someone that manages your marketing or at least manages your data at a very high level, not just data scrubbing, but manages it. Then you have the sales function, right? Your lead managers, your acquisition managers, your pipeline managers. And then leadership is executives that are running departments or multiple departments, like a COO integrator type. And this is how we think about hiring. Like most land investors really only need to be living in admin to sales, like leadership, unless you have a 7-figure business. It's not really worth hiring leadership. But take that to the bank and use that to inform all your future decisions around hiring, right? So you probably think that you need to do all these different variations of marketing in order to succeed. And in a little bit, when we talk about stage 2 as the operator, man, it's going to be completely different, right? You're going to know what marketing channels you can scale, and this is all based on ROAS. This is not based on conjecture. Right? The better way to scale is that what I talked about earlier is to focus on one channel and really, really scale it, right? I see that texting and cold calling is cheaper on a cost per lead basis, cost per contract, and even cost per deal, but it does require a lot more infrastructure. So it's more expensive from an infrastructure in terms of team members and what you need to bring on and mental overhead. So how do you solve the constraint of this level, right? You start tracking your results, right? Down below, there will be a KPI tracker that you can get completely for free. This is the same one that I use with all of my clients in a masterclass on how to use it. You want to have a reliable sales script, and you want to show up on time, right? You want to work on closing, getting better at closing. You want to get a reliable and consistent process to underwrite deals, hire a transaction coordinator, use the CQT method, my method, to find and talk with the best brokers, and you want to start to track your basic metrics. So at this level, if you want to start hiring people to bring yourself out of the hustler stage, the first couple of things that I see is the executive assistant, lead manager, data manager, and a bookkeeper, right? So your executive assistant is going to buy back your time through managing your email follow-ups, inbox, CRM updates, scheduling calls, organizing digital files, sending offers like DocuSign, assisting with light transaction coordination. They can pull and scrub lead lists if needed. They can maintain your KPI dashboard. All these little tasks. Lead managers, this really is needed, I find. It depends on how many leads that are coming into your business, like how many gross leads are actually coming into your business. But I like to see 5 to 7 leads per day, or maybe 7 to 10 leads per day. That's when a lead manager is really needed, and so that they can start to qualify leads so that you can spend more time in building out the important functions of your business and other revenue driving activities versus trying to qualify unqualified leads that are coming in from texting or cold calling or whatever. So stage 1, the big key here is you don't really need 10 people. You need consistent deals and time to think. You want to focus on reps, not tech. You want to master scripts and process, and you want to reinvest 60% of your profits into marketing. How to find the people that you hire at this level. There's onlinejobs.ph, there's Upwork, there's referrals from lane groups. There is, for lead manager, you can find lead managers in onlinejobs.ph, Upwork, Bookkeeper. There's QuickBooks, bench.co, or honestly, you could find that VAEA that also could be a part-time bookkeeper. This is where 99% of land investors are. It's just about consistency at this level. And a lot of people find that consistency with community. And so down below, you could click the link. There is a school group that we have that a lot of people are getting benefit from coming in. I do a weekly Q&A there. You can bring questions specifically about this. So you can sign up to the school group down below in the comments. So at this stage, you're at stage number 2, right? So we're halfway through. You become integral in the business, but you want to have a business that doesn't need you. You're slightly burnt out from the initial process. You start to have people that are actually living in your business that are helping you achieve outcomes. They're not just mindless ditch diggers. They're people that are actually driving results. You're still really in the trenches. You're working twice as hard, but people are doing things for you. One of the key signs to me that you are here is KPI exists, but they're not driving decisions. They're not recruiting, Dispo, or the marketing. Marketing and recruiting and Dispo also lack rhythm. So usually at this stage, we got 10 to 60 leads. We got 10 to 20 offers per week. We're at 3 to 6 deals per month. Our revenue, kind of gross profit per month, is 60 to 120K. Our profit becomes 20 to 60K. Our expenses are 15 to 50K. Now, this is averaged over a quarter. As many land investors know, it's not always like perfect every single month. Unfortunately, I wish it was. And marketing, there's 1 to 2 semi-consistent channels. Your team looks like a CEO, an EATC admin, a lead manager, maybe 1 to 2 acquisition managers, a marketing associate, Dispo admin, bookkeeper, data manager, and pricer. So as you can tell at this stage, the operator has more team members, but not too many more team members, right? You could build a $1.5 million 7-figure land business on something like this. It could look a little different if you decide to go the outbound route, like texting or cold calling, but as a general rule, that's what the outline of this business is. And this could be a 7-figure business. By the way, you could take home 200, 300, 400K on a business like this. So if you fix these bottlenecks, you become a business owner of a very profitable business. A lot of people, for 300 to 500K of net profit that they take home, that's a business that they want to own, right? And so you don't, at this stage number 2, usually people start at around maybe 200, 300, 400K here, and they get to 800 to 1.5. That all lives within the operator. The bottlenecks at this stage, though, is you're still underwriting everything. Your sales reps are in, but there's no clear training or accountability. This can double your results from a selling perspective. Dispo and acquisitions aren't really in sync, right? There's no feedback from Dispo to acquisitions on what's actually working. Are we getting deals under contract that we can sell? Random new marketing ideas, right? You're still hearing certain things. You're trying to do survey hacking, entitlements, and subdivides and infill lots. Where I find at the level of the hustler is the random new marketing channels, but here it's random new marketing ideas, which creates chaos and inconsistency in the process. And you're still the trainer, you're still the recruiter, you're still the manager of all your people in your organization at this level. And the constraints then are not enough tracking, not enough marketing still, right? In order to get to consistency, you're still probably not marketing enough. I just find that volume is everything at this level. Like I said, the sales reps lack the training at this level. Your team is spread too thin, and there's not quality enough team members. What happens when you go from a hustler to a operator? You imagine you have a business that's doing 200K a year, and you hire people based on a business that is 200K a year. You 10x your business size, right? Or let's just say you 5x your business size to $1 million a year business. The team that you have at a 200K a year business, right? Maybe the data, the EA, the TC, is probably not the same team that's going to get you to a consistent 7-figure business. We rely on systems a lot of times to get us to brute force, to get us to the 7-figure mark, but we might be paying a $4 an hour VA to be an executive assistant, and not that they don't have a position at a company, but at that level, you need someone that's a little more strategic, a little more expensive. And so carrying the old level of skill set at a 200K a year business versus a $1.5 million a year business makes it very difficult to get that consistent result, right? Because like I said, you have the brute force to get there, and then when you get there, it's like, oh, even though this person really knows my business, they might not have the skill set to get those consistent results. It's going to start to look like peaks and valleys, and that's what happens with a lot of land investors. So in order to get out of the scale, you want to hire a marketing manager, someone that consistently gets your marketing out, an acquisition manager, a lead manager, and you want to get your hiring and onboarding process dialed in. You want to build SOPs for acquisitions, dispositions, transaction coordinator, and marketing. You want to implement a sales huddle and call review system, right? Sales huddle, we do sales huddle twice per day. You want to track your cost per lead, deal, gross margin monthly, ROAS, cost per qualified lead, cost per contract. How to solve at this level? Pick one channel and become an expert at it. You want to track every aspect to it. I always say, hey, one channel to $1 million. You want to hire a full-time transaction coordinator because you're doing maybe six deals per month at this level, 4 to 6 deals per month. You want to have that lead manager. You want to track your gross and qualified leads. You want to do call reviews. You want to start to build a systematized sales process. Your lead manager can lightly underwrite deals to comp them. You can hire a comper or have your AM underwrite all your deals. Recruiting, you want to have a hiring system to find really good employees. You want an admin and EA to serve as your bookkeeper until you have an agency, and you want to centralize broker communications, right? You can either hire a Dispo admin to push deals to increase deal velocity. What we did at this level is we hired a disposition admin. They posted our deals on Facebook and land.com, and allows us to sell deals faster. So here are the outlines of the roles of the responsibilities. At the hustler stage, you could have a lead manager. You probably shouldn't have an acquisition manager, but at this level, you might want to either up level your team members, your executive assistant, your TC admin through training if they have the ability, the GWC, which is from Traction, get it, want it, capacity to do it. And then bring that marketing associate on. Scrubbers, as you can see, this is really the org chart, right? You have the sales team underneath you who run the sales team. There's the acquisition manager, lead manager, marketing has a marketing associate underneath them, a scrubber, data manager, VA, pricer. HR is legal. You have the EATC admin underneath them, or underneath them would be the Dispo admin, and then you have a bookkeeper. What's the big key at this level? You want to scale what you can trade. You lead what you can document. People want to hire a $5 an hour VA and have them solve executive level decisions. Have them build out true processes. It's really hard for that to be successful. Not only that is, I find that most land investors will have certain things for a team member to do. Let's say it's a marketing associate, right? You have to pull all these counties. It takes you the whole week to pull all these counties. And imagine their 40 hours a week is 40 ounces in a cup. You have a 40-ounce, very large cup. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, do your daily tasks, but also do this special project, which is what I talked about, but also do this extra marketing channel, but also research this, but also create a Notion page. And so their 40-hour cup looks like you adding an additional, let's say, water in the 40-hour cup. You adding 20 ounces of soda. It's going to mix with the water, right? So your day-to-day tasks are not going to be completed. It's going to overflow by having too many hours. They're going to be overworked, and they're not going to be able to focus on the right things. It's our role as the CEO to align our team members and tell them this is exactly what the priority should be, and you should follow this. But people get in these positions because they'll hire a marketing associate and they've only half-heartedly done marketing before, and then they'll expect the marketing associate at $8 an hour to think as strategically as they do and move as quickly as they do. And no one can move as quickly as the CEO, and you are your best employee. And so no one's going to be able to think as strategically as you are. And you shouldn't expect that person to. It's just going to create a lot of unneeded business stress. So you go into different departments, you parachute into different departments, you document everything as you grow, you track cost per deal, cost per lead, profit, KPIs, and that allows you to make bank. You create the daily sales huddles, your weekly one-on-ones, your monthly metrics that you track with each of your team members, and then how to find these people. You can for lead managers, onlinejobs.ph. We have a couple of resources of companies that we work specifically with, and you can get those in the comments. Dispo admins you can promote your VA or hire from Upwork. I love Upwork, honestly, for hiring people. Bookkeepers, scrubbers, all these you can find these people on a lot of different areas, but I like Upwork, I like JobRack, I like OnlineJobs.ph and other agencies. There's a couple of agencies down in the comments below that you can check out that I've used in the past. All right, so stage 3 is the architect. This is where we all want to go. This is at $2 million plus per year. You're not needed in the day-to-day ops. You're thinking about capital allocation, development, scale. You have 1 to 3 bottlenecks still tying up strategic growth, but at this level, you're building people, raising capital, and multiplying profit. You're between 50 to 150 leads per week. You're at 50 to 40 offers per week. You're at 6 to 10 deals per month. Your revenue per month is, like, profit is 100 to 300K or more. And so you're starting to bring in potentially 6-figure profit months, right? Which is really exciting. You have 2 to 3 consistent channels. You have an EA, true EA, 2 to 3 admin assistants, maybe 2 to 3 acquisition managers, 2 to 3 lead managers, 1 to 3 follow-up specialists, pipeline managers, a Dispo rep, a lead AM, an operations manager, TC, Dispo admin, bookkeeper. You're starting to build a true business here. What you really need at this level is an operation managers to run your day-to-day. Team revenue leads, so you don't have to worry about sales. Next level closers, world-class executive assistant, weekly metrics for all departments that allow you to make good decision, and systems for scale, not just more volume. So the path to the next level here is exiting daily ops and having a leadership team to turn your business into a capital engine that funds freedom at scale. At this level, really thinking about allocating our capital, our personal capital, in ways that get the highest return. Instead of chasing what everyone else is doing, we're starting to think what actually works in my business and what gets the highest return on my capital, right? Effectively, it doesn't have to be entitlement or some new and fancy thing, or some sort of development thing. It really is about, okay, so if I can get a 100% return, 200, 300, 500% return on my cash here, why wouldn't I do that? We even look at our individual projects as allocations of capital. If I have a project that I believe will yield me a 10x return on improving some sort of part in our business, then I'm going to allocate my money there, right? It also creates these executive decision making, these feedback loops that allow us to truly scale and get better over time. So this is your classic outline for a architect and what your business looks like at this stage. At this level, the most important thing is not just more people, it's about actual profit, right? Like, is my business making the most amount of money possible with the existing team, right? We're trying to scale profitable enterprises, not just scale. So common bottlenecks at this stage is sales team is flat. Maybe there's no energy or growth path. Recruiting is random. There's a lot of turnover. There's not a clear culture. Finances are unclear, right? You've scaled fast to get to this level, but you still don't have a clear understanding of what exactly moves the needle, right? Like what are the actions that actually yield results? TC and Dispo delays kills momentum, right? You're getting so many deals that you're not used to it, and it's killing momentum. You're buying deals, you're losing money on earnest money because you're so out of sorts, your business is so disorganized. Recruiting is ad hoc. Like I said, these are the main constraints. There's no financial rhythm. There's cash surprises. Your next moves at this level is hiring that operations manager, hiring that director of revenue, an AMT lead, a sales manager, or someone that can think strategically. Upgrade your EA to a chief of staff with more responsibilities, maybe thinking a little bit more strategically. Hiring that marketing manager, maybe bringing in an outside sales trainer or an outside coach. Weekly deal metrics that is from TC and Dispo. You're getting feedback on what's actually working in the market, what's not working in the market, and you're shifting from a decisions based on emotions to decision based on data. What is our data telling us every single week? Our Dispo team is built like an acquisition team, right? So we also have clear Dispo outputs. If we want to accelerate our cash conversion cycles, we want to have a Dispo team that allows us to do that. And because of the volume of transactions, we need people in that department that can help us do that. You might have a fractional CFO. You have a clear monthly P&L rhythm and a 13-week cash flow, right? Tracking, that's important. The 13-week cash flow tracking is incredibly important. And you need that in order to properly allocate your resources. So how to solve the constraint at a very high level here is scale strategically, right? Simple is smart here. Revenue is vanity. Profit is sanity. You want to hire a marketing manager at the stage. So you want to scale profit here. You want to hire a marketing manager at the stage or give your director of revenue sales more responsibility to track every lead and offer. You retarget based on data. You retarget counties, areas, places based on data. You might use demographics to be more strategic. You double down on your most profitable markets. And again, we scale profit, not headcount. It's all cool for someone to say, hey, I have 28 employees, but are they actually a profitable business? Ask me how I know, right? I scaled my business and I got to the stage and my constraint were the exact same things that were here. I didn't have clarity. I wasn't doing consistent KPI tracking for finances for my regular business. My marketing manager was all over the place. I was doing the 60 ounces of tasks in a 40-ounce class. I was doing all the things that I'm saying you need to complete because I've been through this, right? And unfortunately, I've been through this and lost a lot of money. Fortunately for you, that's going to allow you to allocate this stuff and consistently produce outsized results. So daily huddles, weekly meetings, you want to role play until your voice is lost. I heard Hermosi hear that. I love that. Say that. You want to create competitions and weekly pushes for qualifications, offers, and contracts within your team. You want to build a sales team, right? And 4 people can be a sales team. You want to train others to underwrite on your behalf. You can have your AMs, compers, trained lead managers. Training is the alpha at this stage. For larger deals, of course, you want to jump in as a CEO because that's a huge allocation of resources, but your day-to-day underwriting shouldn't be run by you. You want to build a recruiting machine using agencies and internal systems. Your chief of staff could run your HR and recruiting. Your goal is to hire the right people, the fast and cost effectively with clear roles, right? Onboarding becomes really important at this stage. And TC and Dispo. Every deal should live inside a project management system. You want to escalate complex deals and know when to escalate deals to you as the CEO. Ensure that your acquisitions and dispositions team are in sync. Build your team like your Dispo team, like your acquisition team. Clear roles, daily huddles, and consistent metrics. This is exactly what the top wholesalers in the world, in the country do, is they build a clear set of roles, daily huddles, consistent metrics in the disposition team as they do in the acquisition team. So here are your key roles and responsibilities, right? And underneath the key roles and responsibilities, at this stage, what your organization starts to look like. You get to be about a 15 to 25 person company, depending on how much you're paying people, depending on the individual output of each team member, depending on what marketing channels you have. But you're starting to bring on maybe an integrator, right? A COO, maybe your director of sales as your integrator on your front end and your operations manager's integrator on your back end. But you start to see that there are managers in your organization. Dispo manager managing over TC, over Dispo rep, Dispo admin. that side of the business. Then you have your director of sales in the front end and marketing, right? You maybe don't even need a COO at this level if you have a Dispo manager that is that senior, right? But the key part of this stage is you really need someone in your corner to help you put the right people in the right seat, right? We don't have that many employees. We need to get the most amount of revenue, profit out of each employee as possible, and that comes down to the right hiring systems, the right cultural systems internally, and holding them to the correct metrics, because a acquisition manager can perform 20 to 30% differently in terms of the quality of performance based on how you're training them, how you onboard them, the metrics that you hold them to. The big key at this level is you can't really scale chaos. System scales, people grow the systems. Your people, your leadership team grows the systems. You get out of the day-to-day of the business at this level, and you train leaders. I believe this is the hardest jump to make from an operator to an architect, because you start to have to be a leader. You build this internal hiring and training engine, and profit is a habit, not an event. It becomes everything that you guys talk about is this a profitable venture? And then to get all these people, where to hire all these people, you can do pay per deal. There's a ton of different closing companies pay per deals. I don't actually really like those because of the complexity of land. Again, for a lot of these positions, operations manager, maybe you promote from within, maybe you go and hire an agency to help out. Like I said, down below, there's a couple of recommendations on where to hire these people from, but you could just do Upwork or referrals, or in the LANDMAN community. A lot of people post in the LANDMAN community about people that they've used in the past, maybe that they're moving on, or they're getting out of the business, or for some reason or another, someone knows that they have a VA with excess capacity, and that's from where you could hire. This takes you from 80-hour work weeks to 8-hour days, right? This is the 3-stage path to actually scaling your land business. And I would like to ask you at this point, what level of your business are you at? Are you at the hustler stage, at the operator stage, or at the architect stage? You can't skip stages, but you can scale faster with a clear blueprint. And I hope today really showed you the things that you need to focus on, at whatever level you need to focus on, the things that you need to focus on in order to slowly scale your business. So if you got benefit from this, please subscribe, leave a comment down below with any questions. And I go live every single week in our school community, the LANDMAN school community, which is completely free. So feel free to click the link down below to sign up for that. And I also included the KPI sheet down below for you there that I was talking about in stage 1 to start to implement into your business, with the bonus masterclass included completely for free to help you take your land business to the next level. And until next week, here's to your success.